Well, in the program today, one of the things I want to do is share with you a lesson a gruff television news cameraman taught me over 20 years ago about the two ways that we can look at life. It was a powerful lesson. I was in South Bend from 1988 to 1991, and then New Orleans called, and they offered me the sports director's position. My favorite athlete growing up was the former New Orleans Saints quarterback Archie Manning. So I said, I've got to take this job. So in the late summer of 1991, I'm down there in New Orleans, and the Saints, the NFL team, for the 25 years before that, they were terrible. They were the Aints. Fans wore bags over their head. They were like the Lions, sort of, okay? But they really, their best year ever in their first 25 was 8-8. But I get there, and they're good. They jump out to a 7-0 record that year. Big deal, big news. And so for their 8th game, they were going to play at Philadelphia against Reggie White and the Mighty Eagles. And the station management said, Charlie, we're going to fly you up on Thursday. You're going to do a live report that night to lead the 10 o'clock news. Stay, cover the game, and fly back with the team. Well, at the time I'm in my late 20s, this was the biggest thing I'd ever done in television news. Lead the New Orleans newscast? So I'm flying up, and I'm thinking, I got to come up with something special here. What am I going to do? And I go, I know, I'm going to compare those Saints who had never gotten respect to Rocky Balboa of Philadelphia, who before he fought Apollo Creed, remember, he didn't get respect. He was the big underdog. And I knew at that time, because the movie Rocky had been so popular, they had the statue of Rocky at the top of the steps, those steps where Rocky runs, at the Philadelphia Art Museum. And I said, I'm going to work with this guy that they hired, the videographer, and we're going to have him bring his gear over there and set up at the top of those steps. And I'll do my report with that statue behind me. And so I get to Philadelphia, and I call the guy that Thursday afternoon. And he answers the phone, he goes, yeah, what's up, kid? What do you want? I'm like, okay. So I'd like you to meet me at the Philadelphia Art Museum around 9 o'clock, and we'll set up for this 10 o'clock live via satellite report. All right, I'll see you there. So he shows up around 9 o'clock. I'm there in my rental car. He gets out, shakes my hand, and goes, what do you want to do? I said, well, get your tripod and go up those 70 steps or so, lay a bunch of cable, and lay it next to that statue with Rocky like this. And then I'm going to do my report from there. And he just looked at me. He didn't do anything. 5 minutes go by, and I'm the so-called boss in this situation. I said, anything wrong? He goes, yeah, I'm not doing that malarkey. And he didn't say malarkey. And I'm like, really? I'm thinking it's a clever idea. I go, what's wrong? He goes, that's boring. That's dull. I don't do dull. So I'm really confused at this point. Spent the whole plane ride coming up with this idea. So after all, I go, well, what do you have in mind? He goes, well, kid, you want to compare your football team to Rocky Balboa and the steps? Forget the tripod. I don't use it. I leave it in the truck. We're going to start down here at the bottom, and I'm going to lay enough cable to when they come to you, we're going to be at the bottom of the steps, and we're going to run those steps the whole time live via satellite. I'm like, what? I said, we're going to be running sideways in the dark. It's like 7 steps flat, all the way up there. You could fall, crack your skull, and break that $60,000 camera. That's what's going to make it fun. I thought, oh my gosh. So he starts practicing. He starts running sideways. He lays all this cable. He gets up around that statue. He's practicing holding the camera up. So I figure I better start practicing. So I start trying to walk sideways up the steps. And we get close to 10 o'clock. I got my earpiece on. I can hear New Orleans. And I can hear Norman Robinson, the anchor, going, coming up, we're going live to Philadelphia. And I'm like, oh, are you ever? And I'm at the bottom of the steps, and we're getting ready to go. And I never will forget that guy. He was sitting there with a camera, his knees bent, and right before they came to me, he winked at me. That about put me over. And then they threw to me from New Orleans. I set the stage at the bottom of the steps, and then we started running sideways. Steps sideways, steps sideways. We got all the way to the top. We get with that statue in the background. He holds the camera up, down. He spins around. We go around. I throw to a tape piece. It comes back. I wrap it up and send it back to New Orleans. It's like 10:04. Oh, my gosh. Can't believe it. Well, it's quiet. He wraps up his gear, shakes my hand. See ya, kid. I didn't know the lesson at that point. But Thursday became Sunday. The Saints came up and they beat the Eagles to go 8-0. So now I flew back with the rest of the media in the team plane. They have a big plane, and usually you'd fly up with the media on Saturday, but I came up early, but I did fly back with them. Now, before then, I was one of those cliche-filled guys, sports reporters, when I'd ask them questions. You know, like, okay, who is this guy? And as I'm walking past the players on the plane to sit with the media in the back, all of a sudden, several of the players start high-fiving me and go, hey, man. And I'm like, yeah? Oh, you're the one. I said, what are you talking about? The other night, my wife and I, we were sitting home in New Orleans watching the news, and you ran around all the steps like Rocky. I go, yeah. The guy says, I couldn't go to bed. I wanted to play the game right then. I paced around the house. You had me so fired up. Another guy said the same thing. He said, that was awesome. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Another one said, all right. Another one said, where'd you come up with that idea? I said, well, I just did, and then I had to challenge my cameraman. And so I sat in the back of the plane. I go, wow. I got back as all anybody could talk about. Ended up winning Sportscast of the Year in New Orleans that year. And what a lesson that guy taught me. In fact, from that point on, every live report I ever did, I wouldn't let the cameraman use a tripod. Because what he taught me was this. We can approach life two ways. One is the tripod way, which is solid, run-of-the-mill, pretty good, maybe above average, nothing wrong with that. Or we can run the steps all out. It's a spirit. It's just taking it another level. The other day I stopped at a little restaurant and the waitress, I mean, she just did such a great job wanting to know how my order was. Whereas compared to some like, how are you doing? Everything okay? Be right back. You know, that difference between tripod and running the steps. My youngest daughter had a little sock hop dance at her school. And the DJ, rather than just playing the music, he was running out there and doing the limbo thing with the kids, and he was dancing, and he was drenched in sweat, and they loved him. That's running the steps compared to the tripod way. And as I approach anything in life, I remember what that guy taught me in October of 1991. Am I going to run the steps or do it the tripod way?